Hey book club. Or writers club. Either way, today I'm here to share with you my top 5 quotes that changed how I think about writing. These are quotes that I've heard or lines that I've picked up from different groups on Facebook, different authors have said. One of them doesn't have to do with writing at all. These are things that I really thought about when I was writing the current book I'm working on that doesn't have a title right now, but the main character's name is Dyson. She does appear in my second novel, Dominion Required, and is mentioned in the first one, Magic Required, and now she's getting her own book. I kept all of these quotes in mind, and they have actually totally changed how I thought about writing. Quote number 1, if you've watched my channel enough, you know exactly what I'm gonna say here. All together now, cut your first 3 chapters. This does not mean get rid of your first 3 chapters. It just means take it off of the front of your book. You should not have any backstory before chapter 3. If chapter 1 through 3 has backstory in it at all, get rid of it. Take it, put it in a separate document, start reading your book at chapter 4 as if it was chapter 1, and when the information that was in the first 3 chapters becomes relevant, put it in. You don't need to bog down your reader with backstory before the story's even started. They don't care. They want to read a story, so start your story where it starts. Quote number 2, your first draft is just you telling yourself a story. To me, that means your second draft is not. Take yourself out of your book. Cut the scenes that are inside jokes that your friends will really love, that are super reminiscent. This draft's not for you anymore. It's for your reader, and your reader doesn't get those inside jokes. You have to look at your book as though you didn't write it. That's not to say don't have those inside jokes, but if you do, make them super relevant to the plot. A perfect example of this for me is in Magic Required. I have a scene where my characters go to a karaoke bar and they sing a Meatloaf song. Why did I pick that song, you ask? Because I love that song. Comment and guess which song it is if you haven't read the book, or if you have. I loved this scene. I love the dynamic between the characters while it's happening, and the first person I showed it to told me that that scene should go. It was not necessary. And I thought, but I want it! So I made it necessary. And you know what? I get a lot of comments about that scene. Some people saying that it isn't necessary, and some people saying that it's their favorite scene in the book. So as long as it's relevant to the plot, keep it. But your second draft is not for you anymore. Quote number 3. This one blew my mind when I read it. I actually read this one first when I was writing Magic Required. I was living in Paris at the time and I saw it on some blog. Don't tell me the moon is shining. Show me a glint of light on broken glass. Like, show don't tell is so easy. We hear that as writers all the time. Show don't tell, show don't tell. Yeah, but how? And this is how. This line has revolutionized the way I think about it. And I actually personally suffer from something that, I don't know if anybody else calls it this, but I call it this, white room syndrome. All my characters are just in a white room. In the first probably 5 or 6 drafts, the setting is barely there. It basically reads like a movie script. So on my later edits, I keep this quote in mind and I go through, where are they? What are they wearing? What are they leaning on, standing on, sitting on? What does the air smell like if they're outside? What's cooking? What are they hearing? What are they smelling? What does the couch they're sitting on feel like? I try and think about these things and implement them naturally into the writing, just like that quote. I want to show people light glinting off of broken glass. I don't want to tell them that the moon is shining. This 4th quote I actually found as a basketball player, not as a writer. It has been so influential to me that I just use it in all aspects of my life. We will chase perfection and we will chase it relentlessly, knowing all the while we will never catch it. But perhaps as we chase perfection, we will catch excellence. I think I got that right. I've paraphrased this to chase perfection, catch excellence. This kind of goes hand in hand with quote number 5. Art is never finished, only abandoned. So you can chase perfection all you want, but at some point you're just gonna have to be happy with the excellent novel that you have. At least until somebody else reads it and you can get their opinion on how to make it better. There's never a time where you're gonna be able to read a line that you've written and not think that maybe you could say it in a better way. At some point, you just have to let it go. I hope these 5 quotes will ruin your day as much as they ruined mine when I heard them, but in the long run, they made me a better writer. I hope they can do the same for you. If you haven't already picked up a copy of my first or second novel, Magic Required or Dominion Required, it is available on iTunes, Audible, Amazon, and in any main distributor bookstore. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video, and until next time, may the force be with you. Live long and prosper, and keep writing your story.
My breath was coming heavy and fast. heart pounded in my chest. I lay still, staring at the imperfections of the white paint above me, waiting for my heart rate to return to normal. I noticed a crack in the corner of my room and the beginnings of water damage before I processed what I had dreamed. It had been 3 weeks since Melanie Connor's body was found, and not one day had gone by that I hadn't thought of her. Over that time, I'd gone back and forth on what I would do if this happened again. After the mental tennis match, I decided no matter how stupid I felt, or how ridiculous it seemed, if I had another nightmare like that, I would try to find a person.